Before I start, I want you to do me a simple favor and reflect. How simple? Reflect upon everything that is in your life right now. I'm not talking about your surroundings. I'm talking about your life. Everything that is in your life. Ask yourself, how did this arrive here? What choice, what circumstance, what situation, what led to this outcome happening in my life right now? And that outcome can be anything. That outcome can be your physical appearance, your mental well-being, the questions you seek answers to. That outcome can be anything. What led to these outcomes? What conscious choice led to these outcomes? And as you're thinking of that conscious choice, ask yourself, when did this choice, this situation, this circumstance come up which led to the outcome that you have today in your life? Ask yourself, when did this happen? कोई इतना मुश्किल नहीं है भाई जो सोच रहे हो मैं भी भाई ऐसे बात करो जैसे पता नहीं क्या रिवील करने वाला हूं, but no, it's your past. The simple answer to it is your past. Whatever choices you made in your past, whatever situations and circumstances that led to those choices, they are determining your present outcome today. And that past can be anything. It can be your immediate past from 10 minutes ago where you ate a slice of pizza and now you're regretting because you're on a diet. Or it can even be the past from 10 years ago where you chose a significant other who ended up chasing your life altogether. What is determining your present outcome? It's your past. It's the choices that you've made in your past. So what's the point that I'm trying to make here? A mere simple theory which will reduce the miseries of the regret of what has happened and anxiety of anticipation of what is going to happen. Simply being said, regret of the past and worry of the future. And the theory being as simple as this: your present is a total outcome of the choices you've made in the past, and your future is going to be a total outcome of the choices you make right now. ध्यान से सुनना इस बात को. Your past is nothing more than a lesson for the present. And your future is nothing more than a projection of the present. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paritosh Anand. I'm a 22-year-old storyteller who loves to travel. I'm also an entrepreneur, a public speaker, and a dreamer who is doing what he's doing with the sole aim of giving it forward. You know what intrigues my mind today? It's this question that I ask myself, that what makes a human trust the process? What makes a human believe in themselves? What makes a human have faith in their capabilities? And I'm not talking about the good days. Anyone can believe in themselves in the good days. I'm talking about the dark days. What makes one trust the process when no one else is? What makes them believe in themselves when the entire world is turning against them? What makes them have faith in their capabilities when every single one is turning their back against them? What is that limitless power that makes a person take those tiny little steps forward? This is a question that I ask myself daily, and quite honestly, quite frankly, I've not been able to arrive to an answer yet. So let's give it another shot. You and me together, let's give it another shot. और भैया कहानी बताने का शौक है तो एक कहानी के जरिए से इस सवाल के जवाब तक पहुंचने की एक और कोशिश करते हैं. ठीक है? So there's this guy named Kabir. Our guy here, Kabir, belongs to a lower middle class family. He lives with his parents in a single room house in a beautiful hill station named Bir in Himachal Pradesh. You know, he's grown up seeing so much happen around himself. He's grown up seeing amazing sunsets. He's grown up seeing jaw-dropping meadows. He's grown up around tourists from all across the country and even the world. और मस्त सा बच्चा है यार अपना, मस्त एकदम क्यूरियोसिटी है इसके अंदर भर भर के, चुल जिसे लोग बोलते हैं. हर एक चीज देख के इसके दिमाग में ख्याल आ जाता है और वो ख्याल पल ही में एक सवाल बन जाता है. और अब ये वो वाले सवाल नहीं है जो एक इरिटेटिंग बच्चा पूछते हैं ना फिजिक्स की क्लास में, जो मतलब जबरदस्ती बस हाथ खड़ा करेगा क्वेश्चन पूछने के लिए, टीचर को इंप्रेस करने के लिए. ये वो वाले सवाल नहीं है. These are genuine questions. Kabir doesn't have questions to impress his teachers. He has these questions to learn, to cater to his own curiosity. बड़ा मस्त सा लौंडा भाई अपना ये कबीर. ठीक है, जहां इसको टूरिस्ट का एक ग्रुप दिख जाता था वहीं पे जाके मस्त बैठ जाता था. ठीक है, उन लोगों से बात करना, जो भी करना, वहां पे जाके मस्त बैठ जाता था. और जाने ना जाने में, it was this curiosity that he had which led him to trying every possible thing around himself. Be it hiking, paragliding, cooking, gardening, the kid did everything possible. And he had absolutely no idea that his curiosity was actually catering to more than just his finances back home. I'll tell you how. देखो, simple. आज की डेट में अगर कोई मुझसे पूछता है ना that Paritosh, how do I find my passion? My answer starts and ends this simply. You find your passion by trying. Just try. You cannot possibly say that dal chawal is your favorite until unless you've tasted rajma chawal in your life. और भाई वैसे राजमा चावल अगर पसंद नहीं है तो वो घोर पाप है. ठीक है, वो चॉइस नहीं, वो घोर पाप है. बट यू गेट माई पॉइंट राइट. लाइक until unless you try every possible thing, until unless you try different things, you cannot give your mind the liberty and the choice to pick on something and say कि मुझे अपना पैशन नहीं मिल रहा है. Until unless you try different things, you don't give your mind a chance to choose what makes you happy, a chance to choose what makes you the most driven. You don't give your mind that chance. So try. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what Kabir was doing as well. His curiosity led him to try every single thing around himself. He tried and tried until it finally led him to discovering a camera. And well, that was it. The whole world that lied within that still picture. The power it had. The power it had to speak the unspoken. The power it had to feel the unfelt, to express the unexpressed. He fell in love with that power. He fell in love with that limitless power. And he knew it, that this was what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. So for the next 2 years, he would study during the day in his school, and during the evenings, he would just go to the tourist spots, sit with the tourists and go and ask them कि भैया मैं आपकी फोटो खींचूं, आप लोग मस्त एकदम मस्ती करो, मैं आपकी बस फोटो खींच देता हूं, ठीक है. And in no time, this photographer without a camera was famous throughout the hill station. And let alone the hill station, people from outside started knowing him. There was so much hype around himself, his identity, his talent. People created a wildfire. People spreaded his talent like a wildfire on the social media. Everyone coming to Beer knew Kabir already. Everyone knew that they have to go to this one kid and get their pictures clicked from him. Everyone knew that there's this one talent that the entire hill station is being known with. Sabko pata tha, boss. And it was his resilient efforts that once led him to getting an offer from a Bollywood director, who offered him to take him to Mumbai and said that I'll mentor you and make you a professional in my team. Boss, that was it. That was the moment that Kabir had been waiting for all his life. He had discovered the ultimate, the limitless power in those still pictures. And he was like, yaar, यही मुझे करना है, यही तो जिंदगी है बॉस. जिस चीज को उसने सच्चे दिल से चाहा, उस मंजिल को उससे करीब लाने के लिए उसको एक जरिया मिल चुका था. The amount of happiness that the kid had. He was running and shouting in glory. He was running and shouting in happiness through the streets of that small hill station. Everyone knew that something had happened, and he was running in anticipation to tell it to the people he had been doing it for, his parents, only to have his heart broken into pieces. नहीं, ये सब हॉबी तक ठीक है. पढ़ाई में अच्छा है तो चुपचाप इंजीनियर बन. ये सब चीज़ों को अभी साइड रख दी. ये सब चीज़ें हॉबी तक ठीक है. Man, this guy wasn't going to settle for less. He didn't have a rancho in his life as well who would go up to his parents and convince them for pursuing a career in photography. He didn't, but he didn't choose to give up. He fought with them. He fought with them day in and day out, time and time out, only to hear them say again and again, nahi, ye cheeze bas hobby tak theek hai. As time passed, the director left for Bombay, and so did the offer with him. He was shattered into pieces, man. He moved to New Delhi. He studied in IIT Delhi, and being the natural hustler that he was, he landed up a high-paying job in his third year. But he hadn't given up photography yet. He refused to give up on photography. He was still a photographer without a camera, but he had his will. Jazbaat the, aur wahi kafi hota hai yaar. He now wanted to go to Mumbai and earn his way into the director's team. But the job that he was offered from his college asked him to stay in New Delhi. And once again, the same story. Hobby hai, hobby tak rakh. ये तेरा प्रोफेशन नहीं है. इतना बढ़िया जॉब है, इतनी बड़ी सिक्योरिटी है, इज्जत है, तेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया क्या, पागल हो गया क्या तू कुछ? But no, man. This time Kabir wasn't going to take no for an answer. He was ready to put everything at stake for this. He was ready to put everything at stake for his dream. Everything. His career, his job, his finances, his financial security, his future, the future of his own family, the future of the family back home in Bir, Himachal Pradesh. He was ready to put everything at stake for this, but he wasn't ready to die with the regret of not trying. He went to Mumbai. He was disowned by his family. He was rebuked and hated for the decision that he had taken. He was called a disgraced, stupid, insensitive, ignorant for the decision that he had taken. But he didn't stop. He was still in Mumbai as an amateur photographer without a camera, but he didn't stop. He would work relentlessly. He would work during the day as an assistant, during the night as a tutor. He would gather the money, save up for a camera, make sure he's taking up every possible project, never saying no for an answer, making opportunities for his own self. He just did not choose to stop. He loved it. He loved it. He loved the hustle. He fell in love with the process. 10 years to that decision, and he's still in Mumbai. He hasn't made it to the director's dream team yet, but he's happy. He's settled. He lives in a lavish 2 BHK on the 50th floor in Mumbai, from where he sees the world beneath his own eyes. He's got a beautiful daughter. They've named her Ruan, and she studies in one of the best schools in all of Bombay. He's got a beautiful wife, Shania, who's a writer. And he's got a profession that is helping him pay the bills of his family in Mumbai and also of his family in Bir, Himachal Pradesh, who have now shifted in a beautiful duplex bungalow with a garden. He's hungry for more, but he's still happy. And that's exactly what matters at the end of the day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the story of Kabir pretty much matches the same story of the man that you see on your screen right now. I've grown up a very curious kid, just like Kabir. I've grown up with a passion, just like Kabir, for pursuing a career in filmmaking and music. But just like Kabir, nahi. I too made a very bold choice, a very bold decision in my life. I took the decision of withdrawing from a career in the Indian Armed Forces, which, if seen rationally, was a career that could have fetched me a stable, secure, and a respected life. Something that is almost every Indian parent's dream. And trust me when I say it, the repercussions of that decision, just like Kabir, they were heavy. I was boycotted by my own friends, by my own family. The people that I expected the least turned their backs towards me. भाई और सब तो छोड़ो, मेरे घर की काम वाली बाई तक, our house help started judging me, man. पहले तक तो भैया नमस्ते करके रूम में एंटर करती थी, अब तो भाई नमस्ते तो चलो छोड़ो, दूर की बात है. अभी तो भैया रूम में घुसते ही पंखा सीधा बंद, लाइटें सारी खुली, सारा खटर पटर करके सफाइयां हो रही है, और कमरे से जाते वक्त दरवाजा खुला, पंखा ऑन भी नहीं, लाइटें बंद भी नहीं. But all jokes aside, you get my point, right? I was boycotted from all family functions. I was isolated from going outside. My own friends turned their back against me. And when this decision went public, the amount of hatred that I faced, the amount of hatred that people bestowed over me was absolutely insane. I was called a coward. I was called a loser. I was called a disgrace. I was called a traitor. I had people give me death threats on my own phone, for God's sake. And today, when I look back at all of this, I just sit and think about this question of mine, that what made me run after my dreams back then? What made me trust the process? What made me trust the process when no one else did? What made me have faith in my own self when no one else did? What made me believe in my own capabilities when the entire world was turning their backs against me? When I ask this question to Kabir, he just smiles and says, I took that decision back then because I didn't want the regret of not trying. And I'm doing what I'm doing today because I don't want the regret of not trying enough. And if you really see it, this speaks volumes about the human nature. Regret. Regret is often seen as something that we associate with our past. But we let go of the limitless capabilities and the power that it has when we associate it with our probable future. Think about it once. Think about it once and ask yourself, why does that happen? Simply because we fail to understand the relevance of our past and our future in our lives. We fail to understand the relevance of our past and our future in our present. I'll put it down simply for you. Your past is nothing but an experience for you. An experience which stands tall as a book of lessons which you need to refer to while living your life today. We would only be wasting such a useful resource as our past if we sit down and regret it. Because when we understand this one fact, everything changes. And the fact being that our present, as I said in the beginning of the speech as well, our present is a total outcome of the choices we've made in the past. And our future is going to be a total outcome of the choices we make right now. And those choices, the choices that we make in the present, they're done right when we allow our past to be an experience and not something that we regret. Kabir didn't regret not taking that offer up. He didn't regret any bit of what had happened in the past. All he took all of that was as an experience, as a lesson for him to shape his future by taking the choices in the present. And his choice being to move to Mumbai without taking no for an answer. And God did not make the most of it. He made the most of it despite being disowned by his own family, despite being hated, despite being called a disgrace, despite being called a coward, stupid, ignorant, insensitive, and every possible thing you can call him. Everyone turned his back against him. Yet he did it. He did it to shape his own future, to shape his own destiny. He did it, man. He made the most of what he had for the very simple reason that he didn't want to die with the regret of not trying. And he also didn't want to die with the regret of not having tried enough. And till date, man, till date whenever I sit with Kabir, till date whenever I ask him कि कबीर यार कैसे, क्या बताया तूने उस समय अपने आप को, क्या बोला तूने ऐसा कि तू करते रहा, तू रुका नहीं, क्या बोला तूने अपने आप को ऐसा? Man, every time the man just smiles and says, it's true if you believe.